It's important that you do the readings for this course. So in this section, I actually have you going to the W3 schools, which goes through the basics of creating a web page. And you're going to go through the basic pages here, read through them, and I encourage you to try playing with some of the examples and try it yourself. So this is one that we're actually going to be putting in our first page. And so you can play around with the different things in here, change width, change height. So I could like remove the height. And I typically would do this because I usually just put in the width and let the height auto size. But if I want to make something smaller, I can go into here and I can put in new code and I can run it and it'll change the size. So this gives you a good place to go through, read how the stuff works, play with it before you get into doing the assignment. I'm going to walk you through creating your first page, and we're using Carrot. And I'm going to start by creating an index page. So I'm going to do File, Save File As, and I want to put it into my web folder and into my Project 1 folder. And it needs to be named index.html. That's very important. That's every folder, every project should have a main page. If you have more than one page, it would have a different name. But if you only have one page, or if you have more than one page, you need at least one page named index.html. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it's the language of the web. So I'm going to start by putting together your basic web page, which we do a doc type HTML, and that's just telling the browser, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and easier to read. That's just telling the browser that this is the current HTML document type. And then we have opening and closing tags. And when there's a red X here, that means there's an error. There's an error in that first line because I'm not supposed to have a space between the exclamation point and the doc type. Normally, your HTML tags will occur in pairs. So this tells us that it's the beginning of the HTML document, and the slasher tells us that it's the end. Inside of the HTML document, we're going to have a head section, and we're going to have a body section. You only have one head, you only have one body, just like a human being. The head contains information about the page. The body contains the information that's going to go on the page. For our first project, we're just going to put one piece of information in the head. We're going to put in the title. And the title is what will actually appear in the tab up here. And so mine's just going to be Mary Engel, so just your first and last name. This won't be published on the internet. You're just going to upload it into Canvas or hand it into your teacher. In the body, we're going to put the parts of the web page. So we're going to have an H1 tag. H1 is the most important heading. And again, I'm going to use Mary Engel. And then I'm going to have a few different H2 tags, which are going to be things that I'm interested in, things that I like to do. So I might put in something on martial arts. That's one of my hobbies. I also like swing dancing. And I also like dogs. And so those are headings of slightly less importance than the one at the top of the page. But at this point, I have enough information where I can save my file, and then I can go out to my file folder, and I can open this, and you can see all that content has appeared. So I'm just going to go back to Carrot and keep working. Now, I also want you to add some paragraphs under each one of these. So under the H2, I'm going to put in a paragraph tag. So you got your opening and your closing paragraph tag. And I'm going to add some information about the martial arts that I do. So I've taken martial arts at MCC. My son, my mom, and I all have black belts in Shotokan Karate. So I need to add some images here. I want to add some images here. So I'm going to go back out and look at my files because I got to see what I named it. So I've got Mary-Mom and it's all lowercase. So I can go ahead and add that picture. So to add the picture, I have to tell the web page that it's an image. So that's IMG. And then we tell it where we're getting the image from. Source equals, and then the name of the file. And since it's in the same file folder, and this is critical, it has to be in the same file folder, the source is going to be marymom.jpg. Alt tag, this would describe it if the picture doesn't show up. Alt equals Mary and Kathy Engel practicing karate. Now we can also set the width here. I usually just set the width, not the height, because the height will change proportionately. I'm also going to put in a horizontal rule here that's just a line, and we're going to save, Control S, or File Save. And then I'm going to go out and take a look at it. Okay, so my image didn't come up. I'm going to have to figure out why. Let's go look at it, what it's named again. And let's go look at my code. I think that's what I did wrong. And now I can go back out to Chrome and I can refresh. And there we go. And that's me with my mom working on karate. Okay, so let's do a little bit more editing to that. And I'm just going to make this real quick. I am part of the Northwest Swing Society and take lessons in Woodstock. And so we'll have a final paragraph. I love all dogs, my favorites. Well, let's just say my dogs are Bouviers. And you can type a bit more than this. I'm just trying to make it short for the video. So again, because my memory isn't perfect, I'm gonna go out and check Ollie Bear, go back here, and so I can add my image. So source equals Ollie Bear, and you don't want spaces in the file name. You use hyphens and then an alt. This is the description of it. Fawn, that's the color, he's blonde, Bouvier. And this one I'm not going to set the width on to show you that it will work if you don't set the width, but then it might be way too big. So I'm going to save. And I can go back out to Chrome and I can hit refresh. And I've got Ollie, and you can see he's pretty big there, but that's pretty much what I'm looking for the first page. So how are you going to hand it in? So I'm going to go to Project 1. And I'm going to zip it. So I have to be outside. I went to the Web 1.0 folder and I went into the zip selection. And now you'll have to go into Canvas and you should be able to go in and upload that whole zipped folder.